We are now holding the May meeting of the Fayette County School Corporation Board of School Trustees. Will you join me in a salute to our flag being led this evening by some students from Fayette Central?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. While you're there, Ms. Raleigh, we'll go ahead and let you do your school highlights for us.
Okay. Tonight I wanted to talk to you about a program called Battle of the Books. And you may have heard about this program or not, but it is a national program. And when Sharon Amorine was the literacy coach at both Fayette Central and Frazee, she organized it for our third grade students in both buildings. And that was probably about 5 years ago. And then 2 years ago, fourth grade students were added. And Sharon chose the books and developed the questions for both grade levels. And students have about 20 books, and they come in a tote like this. And they're a variety of genres, a variety of levels. And it's the teacher's job to put the students in teams, and they don't want to have more than 6 on a team. And each of the teams, they think of a name for their group, and we've got some different ones here: shark readers, hornet readers, book monsters, and book wolves. And the teacher also chooses a person to be the captain of the team. And they use this board up here to check out a book, kind of like the old library system where you write your name on a card. And then when they bring the book back, and they have 2 months to read books, then they let the teacher know that the book's back and put it back in the tote. And then each group has one of these, and it has listed all the names of the books. And then once they're finished with the book, they put a sticker on it. And that helps each group know, you know, which books they haven't read yet, or which book maybe only has one person in the group that read it, just to help them keep track of it. And I'm going to give you, I have Brittany, it was Baker, now it's Wildman, here with us tonight, who's one of the third grade teachers, and then Patricia O'Leary, who is our literacy coach this year, and she's doing a great job. They're going to give you a parent letter that's sent home to the parents, and that's the fourth grade letter. And then the list that you're getting is a list of the third grade books, so that you can see what those are. And like I said, students have about 2 months in which they can read the books. And then I have with me tonight one fourth grader, who's Kara Griner, that's on the end in green. And then Kaylee Farler and Lauren McMillan are the third graders. And I have to point out these shirts because Brittany's so talented, she made them bubble shirts for the competition. And so, girls, I just kind of want you to spread out around them, maybe a couple over there and one of you over here. And I want them to tell you how many of the books that they read, and then what was their favorite one and why they liked it. And then when they get done, then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the competition. So.
Holy enchilada.
It was like really so good. This boy had dyslexia and he had too much willpower. For his activity and then teacher here and his dad
That sounds good. And was it a problem? No. Okay. That's very good. You read 14 books? Yeah.
Good job.
Because the actions was in it.
If you're on time, just take it.
And that's what I do in my money time. About 3 weeks to read a book. I just got a new one from the library. Oh, good.
She just
Is everybody, which one? Mr. Spurlock, who just came in.
Well, which one of the ones you named off that you enjoyed? Oh, okay.
I see the author of that book was Henry Rickard, The Farm. You ever watch it? But you know who he is? I think so. Henry Rickard, I think so.
I got it at the class.
Thank you.
You wanna come over here and show?
Okay, girls, if you can wrap it up a little bit, just come back and sit down.
Very cool.
Thank you very much.
It's me.
Okay, and just to explain quickly about the competition, each classroom has a battle, and it consists of 2 rounds. The first round, the students, each group has cards and they're different colors, and these have all the titles, and it's like a book cover. And what they do is Mrs. Amorine asks them a question, they have to pick out the book that they think that happened in, and then they kind of hold it up here so nobody hears them or sees what it is, and they take it up to her, and then she tabulates by their group name how they did on it. For example, she might say, this is a story about 5th graders who had a competition and could only say 3 words, and that would be No Talking by Andrew Clements. And then she might say, this is about a person who was born in Hawaii. And I can't find it right now, but that is Who is Barack Obama? Here it is. So once they get that done, then the cards go away, and it gets a little harder because they have to just, remember what was in the story. And during the second round, they have between 1 and 51 questions. They can pick the number of the question, but they don't know what the question is. And so she just goes around to each group and asks the question. If they don't know what it is, they can say pass. But most of the time, they try to answer it the best they can. And then those 2 scores are tabulated together, and the group that had the highest score is the class winner. So the class winner, as you can see, like these students, all has a medal on to show that they're the class winner. And all of the other students get a participation ribbon that says they were a team member for Battle of the Books. Then that's done, like that would be one 3rd grade classroom. It's done in the other 3rd grade classroom right after. So you have a team of about 10 to 12 students then for both classrooms. And that happened in 4th grade as well. And what she tries to do is on Monday, we have the class ones, and then on Friday, we have the what's called the grand battle. And that's between Fayette Central and Frazee. One year we go to Frazee, another year they come to Fayette Central. And the teams are up front at tables, and we have Mrs. Amorine is usually the judge, and she just goes from table to table and asks questions about the books. And after a certain period of time, she'll say, well, we're going to ask 2 more questions. And then when they get done with that, then she tabulates the scores along with one teacher from each building, and we have the grand champion. And the other students are right there. They're very quiet, so they can hear each of the teams answering. A lot of times they bring posters or something, and when it's their team, you know it because all the signs are up in the air. And then usually we go back and forth, right, Mrs. McQuarrie, on winners. But this year, this is the 3rd grade trophy. And this time, they only missed 2 questions, the students at Fayette Central did. And I think Frazee only missed 5, which was one of the best jobs that they've done. So this is the 4th grade trophy. This is the 3rd grade trophy. The 4th grade trophy is purple, it looks exactly the same. And it just so happened this year that Fayette Central also won in 4th grade. And this whole program is paid for through Title I funds. And the kids really love it, and it encourages them so much about reading books and reading different genres that they might not have read before. And we're hoping maybe to increase it to 5th grade and have some books for them. So that's all I have to say about that program. And do you have any questions about anything? No? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it. And thank you, students, for being here and for leading our pledge, and thank you, parents, for coming with your students. Appreciate your supporting your students in their school endeavors. So, do you want to? Is there?
Yes, sir.
Those of you that are on the program, if you would like to stay for the business part of it, you're certainly welcome. But at this point, if you'd like to leave, we'll let you do that. Okay, moving along, we need a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Mr. President? Oh, Mr. President, I so moved to accept the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion.
Do I hear any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carries. Are there any patron comments on the agenda items? And seeing none, we move on. And now we have recognition, and Ms. Rowley, I believe that you are in charge of that as well.
I'm back. This is for teachers that have been awarded funding for different projects from the Fayette County Foundation. So I'm just going to call each of their names and tell you what the project is, and then give them the check for it. Okay, so the first one on my list is Brittany Baker, which is now Brittany Wildman. It's for a document camera and $100, which I guess I'll have to look through these and find it. You're okay. They must be put together. So, and Patricia O'Leary, you come up here too, because they did it by school. So this is the school check for Fayette Central, and hers is for iPads. So congratulations, ladies. Good job. This next one is for Grandview School, and it's for Rick Williams for music room stereo system, $200. Congratulations. Next one is Connersville Middle School, which is Jill Carmody, Cindy Newton, and Lynn Smith. These are for fax lab equipment, media equipment, and cardiovascular program. CHS, Devin Hornsby and Libby Adams. These are for teacher iPads in the classroom. And for WTCC, Jama Bauer and Beth Shank Fagria, for Veterans Day Open House and First Aid. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations to all of you for your awards, and thank you for being here to accept your award. All right. Moving along to our consent agenda, which is the approval of the minutes from our regular business meeting of 4/15/14 and executive meetings of 4/15/14, 4/22/14, and a special meeting of 4/22/14. The personnel report, which included retirements, resignations, leaves of absence. Approval of the April 2014 claims number 35198 to number 35514, and pre-approval of checks for case training. Appointment of Cindy Newton to the Fayette County Public Library Board. Acceptance of donation and grants, donation of $4,830 from the Fayette County Foundation for the Boys and Girls Soccer Team, grant donation of $400 from Fayette County Drug Coalition for a CHS speaker. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda or accept the agenda?
Mr. President, I will make the motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion.
Mr. Hilton. Okay, any discussion, questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carried. Moving now into our action items, personnel report, Dr. Bayer.
Thank you, Mr. Burchett, Dr. Hodges, members of the board. A few items for your consideration this evening. First off, under employment, recommendations and considerations, Stephen Dungan, Associate Director of WTCC, effective July 1, 2014. I think most of you have had the opportunity to meet him prior to the meeting. I want to appreciate Steve's enthusiasm and support of Tech Ed, and his passion and enthusiasm came through very clearly during the interview, and I think he's going to do an outstanding job as Associate Director, so we'll wish him well. In addition to that, support staff, Ann Alcorn and Matthew Sands is summer technology support. Dylan Markham and Brennan Shelton is technology co-op interns. Ashley Way, special education assistant at CMS, effective April 19, 2014. And then in addition, a recommendation for early retirement health insurance provision for Mrs. Bishop. I believe I provided you a background on that situation. And in addition, a recommendation for approval of administrator and administrative support, one-year contract extensions as outlined in your packet this evening. Those for your consideration, Mr. Burchett.
Thank you, Dr. Bayer. Do we have a motion to accept the personnel report?
Mr. President,
Yes.
I move to accept the personnel report.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Ms. Roy. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carries.
Thank you.
Mr. Dungan, you are now employed by the Fayette County School Corporation. Would you like to, not to put you on the spot, would you like to say anything?
Just say
to
I'm
us?
extremely excited. Knew the opportunity was something that was too good to pass up. I love what I do currently, but I'm far more excited about moving on and being here with all of you, and especially with the communities in the area I'm from. I'm a local boy, and I believe in what I'm going to come down here to try to accomplish.
Great, very good. Thank you. Thank you for being here this evening. Okay. Moving on to the next item, which is Board Policy 4.18. Dr. Hodges.
Board, we brought this to you for a second reading last time, and since that time we've made a couple adjustments. I think the changing in wording, the third line from the bottom, we put in the words "are expected to complete," and I think that took care of the concern that we had. We put that out to Policy Review Committee. You've had that in the board packet, and I've not heard any comments contrary to this policy, so I would consider this second reading and recommend that you adopt Policy 4.18 as presented this evening.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Hodges. What is your pleasure, Board?
I'll make a motion to accept Policy 4.18 for the final reading.
Thank you, Ms. Savoy. Do I hear a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Hilton. Any discussion, questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carries. Next is the NWEA renewal for grades K through 2. Dr. Reekie.
Thank you, Mr. Burchett. Dr. Hodges, members of the board, it's in the month of May is the time we have to look at renewal for next year of any of our software systems that we're currently using for assessment. And NWEA, or the Northwest Evaluation Association, is the one that we use for K1 and 2. They are not part of the ISTEP program, and it's the resource that we use to benchmark our students to check for growth over the year in both mathematics and language arts. And we've been doing this for a number of years, and I would like to recommend the renewal of the NWEA again for this following school year.
Okay. What is your pleasure on this item?
Mr. President, I move to approve the
Thank you, Mr. Hilton. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Ms. Boyd. Any question, discussion? I did have one question. Okay, on the NWA and the Acuity, does the second grade do both of those tests?
They do, but they have just a little part of acuity because it's just precursor in the spring, right before they're going into third grade. They do partake in the Acuity C, which is to see how they've mastered the second grade skills in preparation for going to third grade.
But they don't do the whole.
No, there are not items for that. But then again, at the beginning of third grade, they're assessed on a number of second grade items too. That's what Acuity A is for.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is there any other discussion, questions? All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carries. Now, Acuity, Dr. Reekie.
Thank you, Mr. Burchett. And Acuity is, majority of the Acuity software is free to us from the state, the grades 3 through 8, and partial of the 10th grade. But then we also go out and purchase the second grade support system. So we have preparation tools getting ready for ISTEP, and then the 9th grade component of it, which is English Language Arts, and only the English Language Arts in preparation for passing the ECA English 10 exam. And it provides us information and gives us added resources. It's not just the test. So we get additional resources to prepare our students. We do look at this each year. Last year we actually had another component in the 10th grade that we have decided not to renew. It was not useful to us because we had other tools to fill that void, and so we did have a savings of $4,605. I'm sorry, no, that's what the total cost is. So we did drop a little bit in the savings. So every year we screen to make sure that we are using the assessments that we are purchasing and they're useful to us. So it did decline a little bit because of that 10th grade component. So I'd like to recommend the Acuity renewal for the following school year.
Okay, you've heard the report. Do I hear a motion?
I move to accept the continuation of the Acuity report.
Thank you, Mr. Hilton. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Any discussion, question? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carries. Renewal agreement for the Renaissance Learning, Star Reading, Star Math, Accelerated Math, Math Facts in a Flash. Dr. Reekie.
Thank you, Mr. Burchett. Another assessment tool that we are using to benchmark and maintain and see how students are progressing throughout the year is our Renaissance product, and we use that in multiple grade levels. One change that we made, we tried last year, I don't know if you remember, to take the accelerated math and see if it had a purpose for our elementary. So Eastview took 50 licenses because it's online, so we could take it home and they can actually do additional practice and learning through that. But we have, again, another inexpensive one called MobiMax that we're bringing on board, which is it's a very inexpensive resource that we found this year. So in order to save the cost savings, it isn't necessary to expand accelerated math to the elementary, so we did make that decision. But our costs are very similar to what they were last year to renew the rest of the Renaissance products. And so I'd like to recommend continuation for next school year, please.
Now, these are for RTI. Not all students use or do these. Is that correct?
Majority, correct. Math Facts in a Flash is very inexpensive, and we can do that with all students, and that is a tutorial practice, so like they can additional practice of really the facts in elementary school. That's just elementary school. But when we look at Star Reading and Star Mathematics, those are typically for the students that are doing supplemental RTI support, so they can every 3 weeks get to see how they're moving on the continuum, and that really is to measure, is the extra support we're giving them making a difference? And we need tools like that to let us know that, yes, they're continuing learning, or we need to intensify the learning or alter it because they're not growing. So that's what the value of these tools are, and they do some excellent reporting for us.
Okay. I Need a motion for this agreement, renewal agreement.
I'll make that motion, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Savoy. Do I hear a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Hilton. Any discussion, questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carried. Appointment of a school board attorney, professional services agreement, Dr. Hodges.
Board, we've had conversation on this topic, and I've provided some background for you. Unless you have questions, I would like to recommend to you that we retain Marcia Bugala of Frost Brown Todd as our general counsel
And when will that start, Dr. Hodges?
tomorrow.
Okay. Okay.
I was a little bit confused on this. Okay, when you say retain, is she taking Mr. Runn's place?
Yes.
Okay, so she hasn't been before this.
No, we have worked with Marcia on a couple cases. She was assigned to us through our insurance company. She has proper clearance to work for Indiana Insurance, and so when we've had appeals or we've had some things come our way, sometimes she's been appointed as the counsel. We've not had a direct relationship with her. This will be something different. We will be severing our relationship with Bob Ryan. Bob and I have not been able to have much conversation since last time we met. We do have an agreement with him that carries through December. I'm trying to negotiate an early out from that. I'm not sure I'm going to be successful on that, but some things even came to light yet this afternoon that convinces me even more that we need to move past that and work with Ms. Bugala.
Okay. What's your pleasure, board?
I move to accept the recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Hilton.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Jones. Any further discussion or questions?
Just one question. Dr. Hodges, these conditions here by Frost Brown Todd are pretty much boilerplate, aren't they?
Yes.
Okay. I just briefly read some of it.
Right. She
Came
serves.
to that conclusion.
She serves as general counsel for some other school corporations, so it's not brand new ground for her, and this is typically the agreement that they have with the other school corporations. And we've talked about, not all of them have retainers and an hourly rate. Sometimes it's just an hourly rate, and we've talked that we'll try this arrangement. It's like the current arrangement we have with Mr. Rund, and we'll reevaluate that before we come back to ask for renewal on that, to make sure that both parties are being treated fairly on this.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carried. Next is approval of the 2015 Teacher of the Year, Dr. Reekie.
Thank you, Mr. Burchett. A corporation committee consisting of teachers, administrators, parents, and myself looked at a number of nominated teachers throughout the corporation. It was done community-wide through our internet, our website, and we would like to recommend to you tonight Mr. Roger Tyler. He's Connersville High School's choir teacher, teaches 9th through 12th grade piano and choir at the high school. He's also taught elementary, middle, and collegiate level in his past. He was a 2005 R-Star teacher, won that award, and then in 2007 was also a Walmart Teacher of the Year. He has mentored and coached other band and choir teachers in his profession, among a number of other accolades that you have in your handouts this evening. And we think he'd make an awesome candidate and represent the Fayette County School Corporation well in the State Teacher of the Year competition. So I'd like to present Mr. Roger Tyler for this year's Fayette County Teacher of the Year for your approval.
Do I hear a motion?
Well, Mr. President, I'm a pretty big Roger Tyler fan. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the recommendation for 2015 Teacher of the Year award for Mr. Tyler.
Okay, the motion has been made by Mr. Taylor. Do I hear a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Hilton. Any questions, discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carried. And Mr. Tyler is in our audience tonight, so congratulations to you, and appreciate the hard work that you've done over the years, and thanks for all the many hours of entertainment that you have provided through your shows and whatever. And again, our sincerest congratulations to you, and you have a guest with you. Would you like to introduce your guest?
Yeah, this is my wife, Sharon Tyler.
Okay. And Sharon, thank you for being here as well. So, Mr. Tyler, do you have anything you'd like to say, or?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Judd for, I guess it's okay if I say, who nominated me for the original nomination. I'd like to thank the committee and the board for the vote of confidence. And I will try my very best in all aspects of my teaching to live up to this title. And I'd like to also invite you to our concert next Friday.
Thank you. Again, congratulations. All right, moving on to the appointment of Amanda Butcher to the East Central Indiana School Trust Board. Dr. Hodges.
Board, a few months ago, we came to with a recommendation from the trust attorney indicating that the Board of School Trustees should recognize who represents our school on the trust board, and that you should approve that person. And we approved Sean Curtis, and Sean has resigned and will be moving out of the community. And so we did talk with the teachers union, and they're recommending that we approve Amanda Butcher to be the teacher representative on the East Central Indiana School Trust Board.
Okay. What is your pleasure regarding the appointment of Amanda Butcher?
Mr. President, I would like to make a motion to accept the appointment of Amanda Butcher to the East Central Indiana School Trust Board.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Do I hear a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Hilton. Any questions, comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carries. And Amanda is in our audience as well this evening. Nice to have you here. And congratulations, I guess. All right. Okay, with that, we move on to our discussion item. Dr. Reiki, curriculum and textbook adoption.
Thank you, Dr. Hodges, or Mr. Burchett, Dr. Hodges, and the board. In your packet, you should have a memo from Trish Fields. I know you've had an opportunity to review that, and you will have additional opportunities to review the curriculum. But this year, English Language Arts was up for adoption, and that also includes the foreign languages. And so a year-long study process of curriculum, mapping, and resources has been coming to a close. The English Language Arts for the high school has a recommendation towards the 9th through 12th grade core curricular classes. The Japanese 1 and 2 courses also are making a recommendation. The elementary English Language Arts, last year they adopted reading. This year they did the English Language Arts and writing. They did split those two adoptions because they're very intensive and important, and they wanted to be able to focus on each of those. They're ready to make a recommendation to you and have provided information on the English Language Arts selection. There are other English Language Arts related courses that through all the investigation and looking at the resources, they may have updated the curriculum but did not find a better resource than that they currently are using. And that's what the continued use piece is about. And that changes our funding a little bit when we continue to rent them beyond the 6 years, and we will follow that protocol as well. But for the high school French and Spanish, the Japanese 3-4, the expository writing, creative writing, journalism, media, and theater classes, they are all going to be recommending to you to be continued use of the current resources. There is an online component there at the very end that you can get on to review what the curriculum of those looks like. And if you're interested or need help, Trish Fields is very willing to walk you through that process if you like. She also has resources at the Resource Center available for you to review if you would like to see a physical piece of the new resources of the English Language Arts, the writing, or the Japanese 1-2 for your review. So this month, it's to talk about, it's discussable, or I can answer any questions. I can relay some questions to Trish or to the department chairs if necessary. And then we will be bringing this back to you in June for your approval. So is there any questions I can answer? And I know you probably haven't a lot of time to look over the information at this time yet.
Question on, in your memo, you addressed middle school.
Thank you. When the middle school was doing the research and looking at the resources, the state was still going through the curriculum standard decision-making process. And we do like to articulate and align our resources, from the elementary all the way to the high school. After looking at the resources for the middle school and working with the department chairs there, they wanted more time to see, first of all, what was the high school going to do and where they were going to go with their decisions. And they would like to wait another year before actually selecting a new resource. They're going to continue for one more year with the current ones, except they will be supplementing. And we do have some new standards that we need to be addressing, but we still have some curriculum work to do with that. So that was an exception. They don't want to say 6 years we want to continue use, but they do want to wait another year and find the resource that's going to be best fitting for their program, for the new standards, and that's going to articulate well into the high school.
And Janie, from a financial standpoint, is that
You charge on a new adoption 25%. So theoretically, if they only adopt for 5 years, you would collect 125% of the cost of the book. And that accounts for
I'm just
books
thinking
you have
about
to
this
replace.
1 year delay timing in this.
Well, that's
in
what I'm
this
talking about. You
renewal
get
cycle.
5 years instead of 6 years. Now, they can adopt the book for 6 years. I'm assuming that they'll want to get back on the same cycle where K through 12 are adopted. So you're going to collect 5 years, but that 5 years is at 25%. So theoretically, you collect 125%. That's what I was trying to get at, because I think you were wanting to make sure the cost of the book was covered. For your free and reduced lunch population, you only get 20% of the cost of the book. So to delay after that next year with our high free and reduced lunch population, that would be with a recommendation that they remain off cycle with elementary and high school to make sure that they recoup the full cost of that book. Because if they don't adopt next year, they wouldn't have 4 years, so.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Perhaps you said this, I was trying to get my computer going over here again, but this went through the curriculum
Yes.
committee and
Yes.
they,
Yes, they've
Are
already
done all
approved
of-
the curriculum.
Right.
Et cetera, and are moving forward with this, as well as the resources that have been recommended by the various components of the committee.
okay. All right. Board, what is your,
We're not voting on this. we're just-
oh, that's right, this is a discussion, sorry, that's next, at the next meeting. Are there any other questions or comments? All right, then we'll move on to public comments. Anyone in the audience have a comment regarding anything? Okay, moving on to the superintendent's discussion group reports. Are there any? Seeing none, principal director reports. Mr. Ely?
I'd like to take this opportunity to invite the board to our annual awards program tomorrow at Wise Auditorium, both in the morning and the afternoon, 9 o'clock in the morning and 12:30 in the afternoon. And also remind you, our picnic is this Friday, so you can join us on the lawn. Hopefully it'll be a dry lawn for lunch or a hot dog this Friday. So we'd like to see you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other principal director reports? Okay, seeing none, Director of Personnel.
Thank you, Mr. Burchett. Just a couple of items. First off, we're working on filling 22 positions through retirements and resignations. This is down about 20 from last year. We had 42 teachers last year, so I'm not complaining with 22. But we have about 11 of those that are elementary, around 5 at the high school, 4 in the middle school, and then a couple of early childhood positions, basically. So we've got a couple of those that are starting to work through, and this Friday, we'll be working with elementary principals and doing some interview of 8 to 10 candidates, doing some screenings. We've started the process. We have some really good candidates to look at, and just a matter of trying to get everybody slotted in the right place, in the right school, in the right situation. So that's off to our principals, and then they'll go back and do some additional interviews with their interview teams that they're building once we've kind of done some initial screening. So, secondly, we're into our first year of support staff evaluation, where the support staff will be evaluated by their performance versus seniority and other items we've used in the past. So it's a brand new opportunity for them. I look forward to the number of effective and highly effective performers we have. I think we've hired a great support staff, and look forward to seeing those results later on this summer. And those evaluations have started already. Finally, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Barbara Ross, who is retiring this year. For the past 7 years, we have worked collaboratively together. She is the Federation president, and with her retiring, I'm going to miss her. We've worked through some difficult situations, and she's been there always in the best interest of kids. While we philosophically may disagree from time to time, we respect each other on that, but in addition, it always is about the kids. So I have to give my hats off to Barb for making some tough decisions, not always popular maybe with the group, but by the same token is always in the best interest of children. So my hat's off to Barbara. And I also feel very excited about working with Amanda. Amanda's going to be the new president, and we've already had some transitional time together. Had breakfast last week and started that process, so I'm really excited working with Amanda, and I know she'll do a great job as well. So look forward to those opportunities to continue our great relationship and working in the best interest of students with our teaching corps. So thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving along to the Director of Finance.
Well, Mr. Burchett, we're getting ready to move into budget season, which I know you guys can hardly wait for. So I'm going to get plenty of airtime then.
Cut her off. That's a nice report.
No, that's your warning shot.
Okay, thank you. Assistant Superintendent's report.
And I just want to make a comment on ISTEP, because we've completed the online multiple choice piece. If you remember last year, it was a lot of technical issues, breakdowns, et cetera. This year, we were successful. We had maybe a dozen or so where the student was kicked out of the system, but we had a couple of little instructions to follow. They worked every time. The students were able to complete the test. We verified with the Department of Ed that they saw that the test was completed. So we're pretty confident that, that students had a good testing experience, definitely better than last year. So we're excited about that, because we want the data to be real data. So I just wanted to let you, if you haven't heard, I think Dr. Hodges has in his Friday letter has been keeping you in the loop on that, but you haven't seen a lot of red flags, so that's a good thing.
Very good. Thank you. Dr. Hodges?
Board, we've come off a winter when we were wondering when it was ever going to end, and listening to Mr. Ely talk about all the things that are going on at the Career Center. There's a lot we're trying to cram into the next couple of weeks. At your place this evening, I think you should have found a schedule for the awards presentation tomorrow night at Robert E. Wise. You can kind of see, we'll have some more of those. They don't have those?
Yeah, it's Thursday.
It's Thursday.
Thursday? We have those. That was to make sure you were paying attention, because I wasn't. But there's a schedule to follow, and we've tried to keep you up to speed on some other events that are happening before now and the close of the year, and we'll put some more of those things into the Friday letter. So I think with that, I think I better stop.
Okay, thank you. Moving to the for the good of the cause. Anyone have a comment? I'd like to say I know that the elementaries are having career day tomorrow. I guess is that at all the elementary schools?
It's at 3 of them.
3 of them.
Fayette Central's hosting Fayette Central and Maplewood. Frazee is hosting Frazee and Grandview, and Eastview is hosting Eastview and Everton.
And that's for the 5th grade, is that correct?
Uh-huh.
So that involves a lot of our community people.
Right.
So we appreciate them supporting the schools in that endeavor. So, anyone else?
I don't comment, even though Barbara and I never agreed. but she's still done an outstanding job.
Okay, with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Spurlock. Do I hear a second?
That's right.
Thank you, Mr. Hilton. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carries, and the meeting is adjourned.